Fellow CBGMers, what is going on? GM Blink in the house here with a new feature. Hopefully, something that we can do fairly regularly. This is a little bit of a special video for you guys. I'm really pumped about the CBGM season. Here we are looking at the top 25 polls, the media poll, coaches poll, and of course the net rankings. This is a go-to screen when you first log into the game to see where your team's at, where you're sitting in the nation, where you stack up against the fellow CBGMers. If you don't know what CBGM is and you're watching this video, you need to get on this league. Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2022. I don't know what to say. I mean, so many human GMs, guys all across the country, different countries, across the world, getting in on this league. And I'm really having a lot of fun, guys. Again, I'm GM Blink or Blink in the Discord. I do run 4 teams in the CBGM, and just a fantastic league, guys. Having a lot of fun here. Thought I'd make a quick video. First time doing this, so hopefully it's all right. Hopefully the sound's okay. Hopefully you guys, the video's all right. And I thought I would just run down the top 25 poll here. I know it's early on in the season. A few teams only have 4, 5, 6 games in, but it's starting to see who the real teams are. Some of the contenders, some of the teams that are also maybe pretenders. So we're gonna go through that a little bit, focusing on probably the top 10 teams for sure. We'll talk about them, what their prospects are coming up this year, who's on the rosters, what kind of schedule they've got coming up, who to look out for, who's carrying the teams. Get into the players. We'll also get into some recruiting maybe in another video. But right now we're gonna be running down the top 10 teams in the CBGM in the 2028-29 season. Again, we've been doing this for a few seasons now. Chris, our esteemed commissioner, has been carrying the flag here for the CBGM from GM Games, and it's been just a fantastic league. A lot of fun talking about the league on the Discord, guys. I'm having a blast. Talking about, sometimes talking about my own teams too much, probably. I'm sure you guys get sick of hearing about my teams. Would love to get more discussion going on in the Discord, and thought, you know what? I got some software that I just got on the computer here. Got some time on my hands, so let's get down to it. First off, we are going to talk about the number 1 team in the nation right now, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 6-0 on the season, 95.8 points per game. They are lighting up the scoreboards. Agalia just lighting it up here. Defense has been pretty solid, 69.3 points per game. The rebounding has been terrific. Net rank, I know it's early, but a net rank of 7 is solid. 24.3 assists per game, which is solid. We go down to the insights page. Just click on this insights page here. Looking at the stats, 2nd in the nation in assists, 1st in points per game, 20th in rebounds. Defense can improve, 181st overall so far. But I'm sure that will improve as the season goes on. This is a team that doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. Let's dive into the roster and have a look here. Seeing who's on this team. We're going to do this for each team, guys. We're going to just kind of dive into the roster a little bit. Looking at the team here, sorting it out by stars first. This is how I usually look at a team. If I'm researching a team in the CBGM, I'll usually come over here, sort it by stars first, kind of get a general idea, and then we'll dive into some individual categories like scoring, defense, ball handling, passing, offensive and defensive rebounds. I'm a big proponent of the steals category. And yeah, athleticism is also huge as well. So right now, as you see, pretty good depth on the Notre Dame team. Bunch of guys here with 3, 4, 5, 4.5 stars. We got one Terrence Williams, 5-star prospect. We're going to click on him. As you can see, he's got 3 badges here. He's got the cleanup badge, the defender, and the bucket getter. This guy is a baller. Hasn't put up the huge numbers that we'd expect just yet. That could be just because of just because of a bunch of other good players on the roster. But as you can see here, he's got 100 in inside shooting, 100 in scoring, 100 in shot blocking. One of the best players in the nation here, ranked number 4 overall as he was in his recruiting class. And we're just going to have a quick look at the other guys on the team. One thing I do like to look at is to see how many seniors a team has, how many freshmen. Senior leadership helps in this game. I've learned that over the years playing this game. Senior leadership does help. Obviously, if you have talented freshmen like Notre Dame has here, you're gonna have a pretty successful season. I noticed Barry Laster on the team as well. I think he was a transfer, if I'm not mistaken. He was a transfer from San Diego State, the Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Year, and the All-Conference first team. Bit of a disruptive force, though. Locker room issues maybe for Mr. Laster. Obviously, a great player in his own right. He's got one badge here, which is the bucket getter as well. 100 athleticism, which is huge. So he's going to definitely help. 14.3 points per game, putting up some assists, putting up some rebounds. Does a little bit of everything. Maybe they're Mr. Everything here on Notre Dame. As you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3. They got 4 freshmen on their team that are playing, probably significant minutes. I'm not even going to try to say this guy's name, Sean Formicell. You've also got Adam Snyder, Terrence Williams, like we talked about, and James Richard. James Richard may be a brother of Leon Richard, our Georgia Tech transfer that went to Notre Dame, that is often talked about in the Discord. But yeah, this is a team that's got some really good depth on it. If you look in their scoring, I mean, it's no wonder they're putting up 95.8 points per game. They got 6 guys that over 70 in scoring. Formicell 66, Richard is 60. I mean, these guys are deep, and they're good. They're really good teams. No wonder that they've gotten off to a fast start here, 6-0, number 1 in the nation. Looking at the defense, again led by T. Will, 83 defense. D. Bustamante, one of the best names in the game, the senior, the 78 defense. And then you got Laster here and a bunch of other guys. Jerry Perry, another great name. He's redshirted here. But yeah, he's Jerry Perry, just 487th, transferred from UCLA, also a disruptive force. So I wonder if Figali is having a bit of locker room issues with this team. Anything's possible. We never know what's going on behind the scenes. Let's look at the passing. Kyle Sales, 80 passing. Williams, 76. Formicell, 74. Let's look at the stealing. I mean, these guys are solid team. No wonder they've been dominating teams. Let's take a look at their schedule. These guys are the NIT season tip-off champs. Started out their season 88-66 over North Dakota State. Big win over Alabama, followed by a huge win over Texas, number 14 at the time. Got number 6 Virginia Commonwealth at the time, 98-84. Holy cow, Richmond and Cincinnati have just been decimated as they came to Notre Dame and got absolutely ripped. As you can see, the upcoming schedule here for Notre Dame, we got Kansas, number 15, Tennessee. That could be a big match. The Volunteers at 4-0. We might touch on them a little bit. I believe that's Agu's team. Agu. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but Tennessee looking strong this year. South Alabama, Oakland, USC, Georgia to complete the non-conference part of the schedule. And then you've got three big teams to open up the ACC. Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Louisville all ranked right now. So, I mean, this is huge. Huge start for Notre Dame here. Let's see if they can keep this up. 88 points is the lowest they've scored this year. That's amazing. They're off to a fantastic start in the CBGM here season. Next up, we're going to go to the number 2 ranked team, the Creighton Blue Jays. Now, this used to be Chris's team, the Creighton Blue Jays. They are also 6-0. Doing it with a little bit more defense than Notre Dame. Not scoring as much, but also not allowing as much. Not nearly the amount of assists per game, but rebounds per game is definitely one of their strong suits. 38.7 rebounds per game. As you can see here, probably led by Jermaine Emmanuel and Winfield Menard. Also Jason Sweetwine helping out on the glass, and Malcolm Calloway. So let's take a look at the Creighton Blue Jays. Looking at the roster, sorting it out by stars here. And you know what? I'm just going to come out and say it right now. Here is my first big prediction. I'm going to say that the Creighton Blue Jays get knocked out in the first or second round of the tournament. 2 reasons for this. 1, their AI run now. Chris is no longer dominating the league with these guys. They're starting to fall off a little bit, although you wouldn't know it by the start here. They do have some wicked senior leadership. Malcolm Calloway, Cody Horner, and Winfield Menard, all seniors. You got Emmanuel, who's a junior. Solid team. I just think the other thing is, and I'm just looking at it quickly here, the scoring is okay. I mean, they've got 5 guys that are over 70, but there's a significant drop-off after that. And we're looking at a team that I don't think has the depth to go very far in the big dance. When you get to March Madness, you're facing off against the best of the best of CBGM. And I don't think these guys have the depth. I mean, it really falls off here after the top 5. You got Urion Morant, who's a freshman. Jerome Sasser's a sophomore. Adam Bacale is a freshman. And Brian Johnson is a junior. Lenny Logan, also a freshman. So you got 3 freshmen on the bench here, plus a sophomore. Probably haven't played a whole lot. And I don't know. I mean, when you get to March Madness, you got to have, 7, 8, 9 deep. I mean, even 10 deep if you can. I mean, you never know. You're going to get into foul trouble, suspensions, injuries. You never know when a big injury is going to pop up to a star player, and you need a guy that can go in there and fill a spot. So I don't know about Creighton here. I'm just I'm looking at them. I don't think that they're going to be a team that goes far. Now I could be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong about a lot of things in the CBGM, but looking at their schedule, these guys are the 2K Sports Classic champs, beating Coastal Carolina by 19. That's a big win. Coastal Carolina is now ranked one of the hottest teams in the nation as we do this video. Big win over St. Mary's as well, ranked 17th at the time. Let's go into the insights page here. Let's take a quick look. Another good thing about watching these videos is sometimes you see stuff that you might not do on your end a whole lot. I like to go in this screen here, the net quadrants. I'm sure you guys are all aware of this screen. If not, I highly recommend going into this screen. This shows your strength of your opponents. In Coastal Carolina, like we said, one of the hottest teams in the country. Also, Eastern Washington, up there. Net rank of 33. We'll have to see. We'll have to keep our eyes on them. I love watching these smaller schools, and how they do over the course of a season. A couple big home wins here over Indiana and UCLA, and then the neutral court wins over St. Mary's and Nevada. Looking at their upcoming schedule, we have at Purdue this sim. That's going to be a big one. Taking on Spiders, Purdue Boilermakers at 4-1, and they're also 4-1 at home. So let's see. Creighton may have a challenge here. Colorado, that's one of Agalia's other teams, 3-1. Then you got St. Mary's. I believe that's Chuck, 2-3, off to a slow start. St. Mary's is usually a top 25 team. Maybe they've played some tough teams. This would be a rematch of the 2K Sports Classic semifinal. Hopefully, St. Mary's can slow down Winfield Menard here. He looks like he had a big game against St. Mary's, 33 points and 17 boards. Then you got a couple four road games in a row here. At Nebraska, at Kentucky, at number 12 Baylor, and at number 13 UConn. That's gonna be a tough little stretch. Kentucky's improving. Baylor's always tough, and UConn is especially tough this year. Always a good team. Kev BK knows his stuff, and he always has the Huskies out to a good season. So I don't know. I think Creighton could be a top 10 team for the balance of the year. I just don't know how far they're going to get, as the season rolls along. Taking a quick look at the stats here, which is something we didn't do with Notre Dame. Usually take a quick look at the stats here. Winfield Menard, 20.8 points, 10.3, averaging a double-double. Just unreal player. Let's take a look at Winfield Menard. He is a cleanup and a paint dominator from Parkland, Florida, 6'8", 254, the senior leader of the team. A career high 33 points against St. Mary's. Hopefully Chuck can slow him down. He's transferred from Arizona, so that's a huge get for Creighton. Tough loss for Arizona, ranked number 14 way back in 2024. And he has been a dominant player although he has never started a game until this season. Wow. Never started a game. That's hard to believe. Never averaged over 10 points per game. Didn't have any awards or anything. So yeah, he's really coming into his own here. Cody Horner, the senior point guard, as you know, I'm sure you guys know as you're playing the game, point guard is such a huge position. If you don't have a good point guard, good luck doing anything in this game. Cody Horner's got it, 77 passing. I'm a big believer in ball handling. I try to get some good ball handlers on my team, especially at the point. You have to have a guy that takes care of the ball. 58 isn't bad in this game. You'd be surprised. You don't see a whole lot of guys with huge ball handling, so 58 is actually pretty solid. 7.7 assists per game. Looking at Cody Horner's stats, I like to compare the assist to turnover ratio, and that's pretty good. 7.7 assists per game, 4.0 turnovers per game. He's also playing way more than usual. It looks like 2027 he decided to start on the bench, I guess. I guess Chris decided to put him on the bench. Maybe had somebody else there. But yeah, Cody Horner is definitely a guy you want to keep your eyes on, and you want to keep him away from three-point land. Right now he's hitting 48% on that's field goals. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at his three-point. Wow, 47% three-point shooting. This guy is a bomber. So you got to stay away from, try to limit him if you can. So that's it for Creighton. Number 2 in the country right now. Some big games coming up against Purdue and Colorado. Let's go into the media poll again. And let's get the next team, Louisville Cardinals. Cards. Now, when I was first started playing this game, Cards was one of the guys that I watched on YouTube. There's a bunch of great videos to help out the beginners in this game. If you haven't checked out his videos, check them out. A lot of useful information there. If you have the time, follow his playthroughs. He did one with, he did a couple now, but he's got one. He had one going with UNC there. Then it turned into Dayton. And then he had, I think he had another one there with, I can't remember who it was, but anyway, yeah, he's got a bunch of playthroughs that he's done. Looking at the roster here, number 3 Louisville Cardinals, already 5-1. They already lost. Let's check out who they lost to. Wow, look at this starting 5-6 players. This is insane. After that, though, again, you got a huge drop off here. A little top heavy. I don't like that necessarily, but I mean, hey, you got these guys rolling. I mean, they could definitely carry your team through a deep run. I just hope these guys here can help out. Just looking at the team, Marcus Waddell, one of the top freshmen in the nation from Destrehan, Louisiana, going to Louisville, ranked number 2. He's a fan favorite, not putting up the numbers you'd expect. Maybe that's just he's off to a slow start. He does have bucket getter, playmaker, and defender. And look at this, 100 passing. Ball handling, 41 isn't great. But I mean, he's pretty good at everything else. Maybe it's just a matter of him not knowing the offense. I expect this player to get better as the year goes on. You got Scott Thinnell, the junior, Craig Houston, Kevin McCarty, Corey Hendrick, and Jamar Griffith. All these guys can score. Anything over 70 is a huge scorer in this game. Especially with the lower schools, you get someone that's got like a 60 or a 70 in scoring. In some of these smaller conferences, they just dominate. Great passing team. Waddell and Griffith, both amazing playmakers. McCarty in his own right, 70. Looking at the ball handling, not the greatest on this team. You know, they got a couple guys that can handle the rock here. Griffith and 54, Waddell 41. Defense, always you need a solid defense in this game. Again, the top 6 guys, right? Top 6 carrying the Louisville Cardinals here. Taking a look at the stats on the Cardinal. And you got Thinnell leading the way, 17.3 points per game. Corey Hendrick, Kevin McCarty. I remember this guy. I was trying to get him with my Georgia Tech team. Kevin McCarty here. He's now a senior out of Winchester, Kentucky. Solid player. No real weaknesses here. He's been a solid trooper for Louisville over the years here. Hasn't gotten any recognition in terms of any awards or anything, but just a solid 4-year player. He's got the defender badge, which is key. 71 defensive ability. Knows the offense and can effectively run the offense. Looking at the schedule that they've had. Let's look at it here. Easy win over Bucknell to start out the season. Took down Auburn Tigers, which I believe is one of Jedi's teams. Then played Bucknell again. Poor Bucknell. The Bucknell Bison have to play Louisville first 2 out of 3 games of the season. That's a rough start for them. Then they take down Akron. Take down Old Dominion in the Wolverine Studios Midwest Invitational. And they haven't really been challenged up until they faced off against number 9 Villanova, just a samples team, one of his teams anyway. He's got 2 teams, I believe, in the top 10 right now with Villanova and Florida State, which we're going to get to next. But Villanova did a great job of shutting Louisville down. Let's take a quick look at the game. Villanova went up early, up by 9, held on. 15-point win, which is pretty convincing. So there's no holding on there. Meeking, Wallace, and Brinker all with double digits. And let's just take a look at how they shot. Yeah, 46%, 46% from three. Yeah, that's going to be tough to beat. Only turned the ball over 11 times. To Louisville's 14. Just a poor shooting game from Louisville. They'll bounce back. I have no doubts about that. Looking at their schedule coming up. Got Toledo Rockets 4-1 at Indiana, Charlotte at Kentucky, Temple, and then they start their ACC schedule with 3 home games. Look at this one, January 2nd. Mark this one down in your calendars, fans. Notre Dame, Louisville, probably top 2 teams in the country, perhaps, going at it. Let's see if they play each other again. And they do. Louisville coming back on February 13th, right before Valentine's here, take on the Fighting Irish. Okay. Let's take a look at a quick history here. History lesson. Louisville's dominated over the last few years in CBGM. Coach Brian Scott missed the tournament his first year, and then after that, it's been a slow improvement. 3 straight finals appearances, though, and then he got knocked out last year by actually my team, North Dakota. We're not going to talk about that, though. I know it's a hard one for him to talk about. It's a rough loss, but yeah, solid team all around here. Louisville Cardinals, again, definitely going to be up there come tournament time. Florida State Seminoles up 10 spots to number 4 in the nation. The Seminoles could be the surprise team of the season. I wasn't that surprised, though, when you look at their team. They have a couple of real solid players. Again, looking at the overall here, Boney Brown. I wanted this guy so badly on Georgia Tech. He wouldn't talk to me. Had no interest in coming to Atlanta to be part of the Yellow Jackets. He ends up going to Florida State. He's from Augusta, Georgia, which hurt. A 6'7", 206 guard. He's got the bucket getter, the playmaker, and the defender badge already. And this guy, 21 points per game, 5 assists, 6.2 rebounds per game. I mean, this guy is leading the Seminoles charge. He was the number 3 ranked prospect in last year's recruiting class. Probably going to be a one and done, but I mean, good Lord. I mean, he is amazing. Otis Gibbons, the senior. Rodney Burks. Braden Kang, a senior. Jeremy Picard, a senior. They've got some solid depth on this team. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of guys that jump out at you besides Boney Brown. But I mean, one guy can carry your team. They do have a decent supporting cast, though. Here we got Otis Gibbons, power forward here. He's also got the defender and the cleanup badge from Lewiston, Maine. Braden Kang, a senior center, which helps. Decent size, also from Maine. These guys are dominating the Maine recruiting territory. Rodney Burks from St. Paul, Minnesota. He is a solid support player. Transferred from Minnesota. Kev BK, one of his teams, transferred from Minnesota to Florida State, and is having a decent season here as a sophomore with the Seminoles. Let's take a look at who the Seminoles have played. But first, before we get into that, we're going to look at the scoring. They don't have a whole lot of top scoring. They're only putting up 70.3 points per game, but their defense has been solid, 55.7. That's going to be one of the best in the nation, I would think. We'll check that out. Defense, you got the Gibbons, Brown, and Kang leading the way. Burks. So they're a pretty decent team here. Let's see who they've played. I'm curious to see who they've played here. Wow. Close win over Texas Southern to start out. Then they went to Kentucky, blew them away. NC Wilmington. Then they beat Kentucky again at Washington, who is now ranked in the Cancun Challenge final. Wasn't challenged by them. Boney Brown puts up 36 in that one. Ouch. And then they go to Texas Tech and beat up on the Red Raiders. So they've only played, let's take a look at the insights here. They haven't had the toughest schedule. Points per game allowed, 55.7. That's 12th in the nation. That's huge. If you can defend, you're going to do well in this game. Looking at their net quadrants here. So yeah, Kentucky's the best team they've played. Well, the Washington win's pretty good too. But they haven't played anybody solid yet. I would be real interested to see how they hold up against some of the better teams they're going to play. Davidson's always a tough matchup. I think that's Dog's team. One of his teams, Davidson. At Florida, or Oregon as well. Oregon's a good team. At Florida, so you got 3 tough games coming up here after James Madison. And then they finish off with Sam Houston State. So this stretch here, this December 1st to the 13th, that's going to be a tough stretch for them. 2 on the road. They get Oregon at home. We'll see how they do here, but they're off to a great start in the ACC. Number 4 might be a bit high for them, though, but, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. If they can make any headway here through the ACC schedule, that's going to be huge for them. They don't have, looking at their ACC schedule here, they got it pretty good. At Duke, they do play the number 9 Syracuse Orange in a battle of top 10 teams. Got Miami, who's going to be improved under Chris, but they might be in for a tough first season. At Wake, who looks dead right now, 0-4. Wake Forest struggling. Then you got Boston College. At Miami again. Then you play Syracuse again. So you're avoiding Louisville, Notre Dame, even Georgia Tech. You're avoiding those 3 teams for quite some time here. Not until late January where you're playing Georgia Tech. And Louisville and Notre Dame, way down here. They only play Notre Dame once, very last game of the season, and they've only got Louisville once, both on the road. But if you only play in those teams once, that's actually pretty huge. So that's a good scheduling quirk for them. Obviously, Syracuse is a good team as well. But that's gonna be a bit of a bonus for Florida State. I expect this team to be top half of the ACC for sure. But I don't know if they're as good as their number 4 ranking suggests right now. Hopefully. They're off to a great start, and hopefully they can keep it going. Going back to the polls and media screen here, and we're going to talk about the Maryland Terrapins, number 5 in the nation. 83.3 points per game, 73.5 opposing points per game, which is pretty high. They gotta work on their defense, solidify their defense. 39.5 rebounds per game is huge. Looking at the roster here, wow, this is going to be, in my mind, this is definitely a championship caliber team. They've got some 5-star and 4.5 stars. They got some 4 stars. They got some solid depth. As you can see here, they're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 guys with at least 3.5 stars or better, which is huge. They're all contributing. Bunch of freshmen here too. You have 3 freshmen. Kyle Durkin's a senior. Brad Humphreys is a senior. I remember Jay Maddock. He was a guy that I was trying to get with my Seton Hall team. He didn't want to come to Seton Hall, even though he's from the area, from Virginia. 8 assists per game, one of the best point guards in the game. Coop Brown, this guy is a monster. 6'8", 232 forward from Fort Meade, Maryland. He is an absolute beast. 18-9 he's averaging on the season. He was the number 1 ranked recruit in last year's recruiting class. Fan favorite, very likable personality. Going to get along with his teammates, probably the leader of the team. Got Will Tucker here as well. Looking at the team here, looking at the scoring, they've got scoring. I mean, they got 3 guys over 80. Jay Maddock at 73, Richard Williams 63, John Ward at 60. So they've got some solid scoring depth. The passing's also pretty good here. Wow, this is going to be a tough team to beat. Defensively strong, and they're an athletic team. You can run a fast-paced offense with these guys. If they play a team that's got a quick pace, they're not gonna back down. They're gonna be able to play with these guys with that type of game. Stealing's also solid. I mean, this could be a championship roster. They've got the senior leadership. They've got everything you need to be a championship team. They got strong freshmen, solid seniors, depth galore. Let's take a look at their schedule. They've only played 4 games this year, so it's tough to see. They got a couple games coming up for sure in this sim at Miami and Ohio. But, I mean, took down the Ducks. Rhode Island didn't stand a chance. Hawaii, same thing. Sneaked out a win over Connecticut, 86-83. I expect Connecticut to be a top team this year, though. So that's definitely a big win. Got Miami, Ohio, Central Florida at 4-0. Central Florida is a team that made some noise last year in the March Madness tournament. Let's take a look at their history here quickly. They were an Elite 8 team under Gregory Stillman. So the Central Florida Knights, watch out for them. Could be a sleeper team. But going back to Maryland here, just going to pick up their schedule. Oklahoma State, that's a big game. So they got some tough teams coming up, but they're all at home. Which is huge. At Illinois, that could be a bit of a scary one against Jedi's Fighting Illini there. Indiana, and then you get into you're getting into your conference schedule here. The Big Ten's always a tough conference. It's going to be a bloodbath in some of these conferences this year. ACC, SEC, Big Ten, Big 12. I mean, bunch of good teams in the CBGM with great managers as well. So it's going to be a dogfight for sure. But yeah, looking at Maryland's history briefly, we're just going to this history for a sec, and they are always a top team. Have made the tournament every year except for 2026, where they won the NIT tournament. So obviously a successful team. The furthest they've made it is to the Final Four. But I mean, hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. He can't. Shaka Jr. can't complain about how he's been doing here. So Maryland, I expect Maryland to be a top 5 team this year. They've got everything you need to win it all. And I'm just going to go out and say it. I think they're one of my top contenders at the moment. We'll see how they do. Arizona Wildcats, number 6. Arizona Wildcats, 4-1 on the season. They only have a net rank of 135, which is tough. So maybe they haven't played a whole lot of great teams yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here. They're obviously number 6 for a reason. Taking a look at their roster. I mean, I could look at it at the dashboard, but I really like to go in here and look at it. Again, sorting it out by stars, and then we'll kind of dive in. LaShawn Neal is hurt. Okay, he's only got back spasms. He's only out for 8 days. But the junior here averaging 13.8 points per game. Solid player. All-American second team last year. Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Pac-12 All-Conference first team 2 years in a row. I mean, this guy could be a 4-year player, one of those rare 4-year players in the top 25. You know what? He's actually off to not the best start. I mean, look at compared to his 2026 and 2027 seasons. I don't know what's up with that. He's getting the same amount of minutes. Just maybe teams have been shutting him down. Looks like he's been a little cold outside of the arc here. But inside the paint, he is just dominant. So feed him the ball, get him the ball, bucket getter, defender, clean up, and just a monster player. Dontonio Johnson, the freshman center from Park City. Is that Montana? I think that's Montana, averaging a double double. This guy has come in and lit it up in the CBGM. 10th overall prospect last year. He has just been killing it. Cleaning up on the defensive end, 7.8 defensive rebounds per game. This guy is a monster player. Joe Dawson, Jeremy McDice. There's a familiar name. I was gonna say he transferred from Syracuse. I remember this guy. I was trying to get him on Seton Hall. Syracuse, went to Arizona, ranked number 43 in the nation. I don't know if they have the depth. I don't know if this is really a championship contender. I mean, they've obviously got some great top players. You look at Johnson, Neal. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this guy's first name, Kian Zai. But I don't know if they've got enough. I mean, they have some solid passers, which is what you need. Ball handling, not the greatest. Maybe pressure these guys. They play a team that has some pressure defense, coughing up the ball a little bit. Looking at the defensive side of things, they're okay defensively. They're not great. They're not bad either. They got some guys that can play defense here, and athleticism. Again, they're okay. Nothing spectacular. Their two best athletes here are guys that probably don't see a whole lot of playing time. Jai, okay, 5.2 points per game. Anthony Grant not playing. So, I mean, we'll see. Let's take a look at their schedule. Who have they played? Who have they beaten? Iona beat San Diego State, lost to the VCU Rams, who are a top 10 team this season so far, beat the Dons of San Francisco, and then beat one of Bill Dozer's teams, North Carolina State Wolfpack, by 10. Looking at it again, another game against VCU. So we'll see if VCU is now up to 10th in the rankings. See if they can compete against the Wildcats here. Mississippi State. Okay, they got the defending champs on their schedule here. There's a win against my Washington State Cougars. They start out the Pac-12 season against this one of my teams here. Struggling. The Cougars are not a good team this year. We're in the middle of a big rebuild, but we're not going to talk about them because they are nowhere near the top 10 this year. So again, Arizona. See if they can do something here. I mean, their non-conference schedule is not too tough. A lot of home games, which is good. I expect them to stay in the top 10 until they get to the Pac-12 schedule. And then we'll see how they do. I mean, I don't really know how good these guys are. It's tough to see. Last year they made the Elite Eight, usually a March Madness team. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here under new coach Ronald O'Neill, and we'll see how the Arizona Wildcats do. I don't know if they're going to be a top 10 team at the end of the year, though. We will see. We got 4 teams left in the top 10 here. But first, before we get into Georgia Tech, which is my team, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about my guys. But, a couple teams here that I want to point out. Tennessee's having a great start, 4-0, 15th in the country. They are having a great start. UNLV, 4-0 as well, up 9 spots. I think Josh runs that team, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry if I get some of these teams wrong. I know some of the teams, but I don't know everybody. Missouri, 5-0. Shout out to Spider. He has got his Tigers off to a hot start. Coastal Carolina is obviously a huge story out of the Sun Belt, 21st ranked right now. We are going to talk a little bit about them at the end of the video here. Purdue, another one of Spider's teams. Nice to see the Tar Heels back in it. I mean, in real life, I can't stand the Tar Heels. I'm actually a Duke supporter. Go Blue Devils. But, I mean, the Tar Heels haven't been in the top 25 in a while, so another ACC team to look out for. And then we've got Arkansas and Washington, two teams that haven't seen a whole lot of time in the top 25 polls over the years, but nice to see them here. See how long they can hang on there. Going back to the top 10, Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This is my team, one of my teams, and we're off to a good start. This number 7 is actually the highest rank we've ever been in CBGM, which is good. I did not expect a huge jump up the polls. We started out unranked, and then we went up like 18 spots after the first week, jumping up into the top 10. We're doing it with defense. Our defense has been solid, 55.8 points per game allowed. We have solid rebounding. I'd like to see our offensive numbers improve. I think I actually made a change last night to see if we can maybe get a little more offense going. But the thing I like about this team, especially this year, is I think this is probably the deepest team I've ever had. No 5-star players, but we got a solid team. Lowest guy on the team is 2 stars. We've got a solid all around team. I don't know if we're going to be an elite team. It's going to be probably tough to maybe take us down. But I just don't know. I mean, I haven't. The ACC is tough, and like I said, we got a well balanced team. I got some guys that can score. I've got some guys that can pass. We're a good passing team, which is huge. I mean, the only guy that really is struggling is Wayne Ole here at 33. Everybody else over 50, so we can run our offense. The ball handling is a big weakness this year. Usually, I do have better ball handling. That's going to be a big weakness for us this year. And we also have Jonas Anthony, our freshman point guard, running our offense. So that could be our downfall this year. Defense, we're okay. We're so far so good, but I don't know if we're going to hold up against the Notre Dames and the Louisvilles and the Syracuses of the CBGM here. But our defense is not bad. We do like to steal. We are going to pressure you. We are going to get our turnovers against you. That's just the way we play here in Yellow Jacket territory. And athleticism, we're not bad. We're okay. We got some guys that can run. So we can play the quick pace game. So overall, I mean, we got a decent team here. Looking at our schedule, we started out against Moorhead State, beat them at home, took down the Wichita State Shockers, which is another one of Chris's new teams. Took down the Boilermakers, who are now ranked, so that's a big win for us on our quadrant sheet. Got crushed by UConn in the Paradise Jam tournament. Still haven't won one of these tournaments, which is a bit frustrating, but hey, I mean, it's gonna happen. And then we took down one of my other teams, Washington State, by 9, and then San Diego State took them down by 11. So we've faced some okay teams so far. Looking at our schedule, we've got some decent teams coming up. Michigan's usually pretty decent. Then we got the Bucknell Bison. Bucknell Bison have had a horrible start to their season. I mean, what a schedule! They had Louisville twice, I believe, and then they've got us coming up. UCLA, and then at Georgia, which is one of our big non-conference rivals. Texas A&M CC, which is usually pretty good. And then we start off our ACC schedule at home to Boston College, followed by a trip to Notre Dame. So we're getting Notre Dame right out of the way early. Then we go at Duke, and so on and so forth. So our big guy on the team is Ainsley Merchant. He's our leader. He is averaging a double-double this season. 15.8 points per game, 10 rebounds per game from Palmetto, Florida. The big 6'10", 273-pound center. If you're going to try to take us down, you're going to have to stop Ainsley Merchant. He is a paint dominator. and he knows our offense, motion and triangle. He knows it. ACC All Conference, second team last year. ACC Freshman of the Year. He's stuck around for all 4 seasons, which has been great, and he has been a solid player, one of the best players in school history. He's going to be up there when he finishes, probably with Nate Hines in our top scorers. He probably won't catch Hines in points, but he's definitely going to be up there in points and rebounds for sure in our school history. We've got some solid players here. Only guy averaging over 10 is Merchant, but we got Miles, Fleming, Anthony, Leonard, all averaging over 8. And then we got Shaka Arias and Aaron Hart averaging over 5. So yeah, we're a decent team. I'd like Lane Johnson to step it up here. I might have a chat with Mr. Johnston. He is off to a terrible start here. He 13.3 minutes played. He's only hit 2 shots all year. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna have a chat with Mr. Johnston here and tell him that he's not up to snuff. He's just that is bad. He's been bad. Luckily enough, it hasn't hurt us, but he's gonna have to improve his game if we're gonna be a contender here. I mean, we have the depth. I just don't know if we have the top talent to really get it done. And that'll be that for the Yellow Jackets. I won't harp on them anymore. We'll see what happens with these guys. We're trying to stay in the top 10. We'll see. Villanova, the Wildcats, number 8. Big win over Louisville here. Big win, 79-64 over Louisville. Let's check out who the Wildcats have. Just a Sample's other team, he's got Florida State and Villanova. Marquise Brinker, yeah, I remember him. He was, I believe, a top 5 camper in the Big Apple, in the East region from Delaware. I remember trying to get this guy with Seton Hall as well. Another point guard who didn't want to play at Seton Hall. Big shocker there. But anyway, he went to Connecticut, then he went to Villanova, stayed in the Big East. So he's got a big rivalry going on with Connecticut, I'm sure. And yeah, solid player. Marquette Wallace, another solid player out of South Carolina, transferred from Louisville. So Villanova is really built on transfers here from the looks of things. They got some decent depth here. I just don't know if they have. Again, they remind me of Georgia Tech a little bit. They don't have the top talent, but they may have enough talent to be a Sweet 16, Elite 8 run, maybe even a Final Four. Edgar Kopke here is injured with a sprained wrist. They do have some scoring. The passing is pretty decent. You got 3 guys over 70 there. Defensively, yeah, not too bad here. They got some guys that can defend. Stealing's pretty good over their top 5-6 guys, and the athleticism. They're a team that's okay athletically, not gonna wow you though, but they can hold their own. Let's take a look at the stats here, quick on Nova. David Meeking, a junior, 18 points per game out of Salt Lake City. Was he a transfer too? He was. BYU. Villanova just raking in the transfers here. Wow. So their top 3 guys are all transfers. Just shows you how important the transfer portal is in this year's game. You can get a lot of good players in the transfer portal, and if they blend nicely with your offense that you're running, and their personalities jive, you can have a solid team quickly. These guys are doing it with defense. They're not wowing anybody with their offensive game, but the defense has been solid and they rebound well. So let's go into the insights here. Just take a quick look. 4th in blocks per game. That's huge. You don't want to go inside the paint with these guys. Other than that, nothing really jumps out at you though. But off to a solid start. Off to a solid start. You got to tip your hat to these guys. Had a tough schedule too, and look at the results. They beat the Bonnies by 7, took down Louisville, like we've mentioned. Arc State was a big win at home, and also LaSalle took them down. Only losses to Washington, top 25 team right now, right at number 25. So we'll see what Villanova can do. Can they hang on to the top 10? I mean, they play in the Big East. It's going to be tough. Got VCU Rams coming up, so a battle of two top 10 schools. And North Texas coming up as well. Butler's always tough. St. John's off to a good start. Marquette's going to be better this year. Playing my Seton Hall team, I don't know how good we're going to be, but we're off to a decent start. UConn's going to be strong. No easy games this year in the Big East. It's going to be, I think it's wide open, to be honest with you. It's going to be tough to see who wins that one. But that's always a huge conference. So let's see if Villanova can stay in the top 10, or maybe some of these teams here can leapfrog. We got 2 teams left in the top 10, and then we're going to shut this video down. Syracuse and the VC Rams. Syracuse been a top team over the last couple of years. I mean, taking a look at their history here, 10th, ranked 10th in 2026 and number 6 in 2027. Otto Orange, back-to-back Elite 8 runs, looking like he's got Syracuse coming again for another Elite 8, possibly Final Four charge here. And does he have the team to do it? It looks like he has a solid team here, led by Aaron Mannheimer, the freshman. From Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Aaron Mannheimer, 6'7", 199, small forward. Ranked number 7 in the nation, and he is off to a flying start with Syracuse. Followed by Wright Maloney, Philip Higgs, Ryan Billett, Rufus Weiss, who was actually a transfer from the Summit Conference, I believe, from North Dakota State. Yeah, North Dakota State. This guy's been a bit of a horror. He's gone from Bradley to North Dakota State to Syracuse. Not doing a whole lot, though. Not doing a whole lot there. Anthony Granger was a transfer as well. He had some senior leadership here. Yeah, Granger, Weiss, and Higgs are all seniors. Billett's a junior, so that's going to help. See who they've played. So let's take a look at the scoring here quickly. They should be okay. As long as they don't let any of these walk-ons see the court, they're going to be okay there. Can they pass the ball? They can pass the ball. Yep, they're a good team with passing the ball. Defensively, they're not bad. Stealing, can they steal? Yes, they can. And can they play a fast-paced type game? Aaron Mannheimer with 100 athletics. Holy cow, 98. Then it drops off. That's okay. They got some solid players there. Taking a look at the schedule here. Akron, Belmont, Utah, and Michigan State. Sorry, guys, just need to take a little sip there. 4 solid wins over unranked teams. So they haven't played anybody in the top 25 yet. Oregon State, they play them back-to-back in a bit of a scheduling quirk there. Their first real test might not come until December 30th at Florida State. Georgetown's going to be a decent game. Mississippi's off to a strong start, 3-1. I just don't know how good they're going to be. And then you got Clemson, the AI run Tigers, I believe, unless somebody's taken them over. But yeah, I think they're AI run. But yeah, that game there, that Florida State game is going to be a big one. See if Syracuse is for real. I think Syracuse is for real. They just haven't played anybody great yet. So they should be a top contender as well. And finishing off with the Virginia Commonwealth Rams. Now, this is a team to watch out for. They have had a history here lately of being in the tournament, made it to the Final Four last year. Probably have a bunch of guys returning, and taking a look at their roster here. Solid team. Look at these seniors: Mike Ferris, Gabriel No, Alex Price is a junior, Tris Taylor is a junior. Their top two guys are sophomores, and Jonathan Johnson's a freshman. They've got some depth. Do they have the scoring to compete? Yeah, they do. They got the scoring to compete. The passing's not bad. They also play in the Atlantic 10 conference, which isn't the greatest conference, but it's still a decent conference. You're still going to play some top teams. There are some human users in the Atlantic 10 there. Defensively, Brett Palmer looks like he is their strongest player here out of Waynesboro, Virginia. A10 all conference, first team, A10 freshman, A10 defensive player, ranked number 16. He is stuck around to help out the Rams here. Huge player in their Final Four run a year ago in what was a crazy NCAA tournament. I mean, just craziness last year what happened with all the upsets. Athletically, they're good. Stealing wise, they're going to get their fair share of turnovers. So I mean, it's a decent team. This is a decent team for sure. Taking a look at their schedule here: Ohio, at Green Bay, at Arizona. That was a big win. Lost to Notre Dame. Obviously, there's no shame in losing to the Fighting Irish with the firepower they've got. Bounced back for a win over Princeton, but then Washington takes them down by 21. The Huskies here could be a sleeper team this year. I know they're ranked right now, but have to keep our eyes on the Huskies, which I will definitely be doing now that I'm part of the Pac-12. And coming up, they play Green Bay again. So a lot of times you see these conference tournaments, you're playing a team, and then you end up playing a team, and then they're actually on your schedule here still. But, I mean, look at this. At Arizona, at Villanova, two big games. Arkansas at home, at Davidson to start out the A10 schedule. Toledo on the schedule as well. So we're gonna see how good the Virginia Commonwealth Rams really are. They're doing it. A little bit of scoring, 76 points a game is pretty good, and we're going to see if they can hang on here. I think they can be a top 20 team. I think they can stay in the top 25 if they continue on their trend here. But again, you look at their stats, and there's nothing really that's jumping out at you right now. I mean, they're not dominating in any single category, but they're not bad at anything. So they're above average in everything, which is a good thing. Which is definitely a good thing. Last but not least, I do want to touch on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, Sun Belt leaders right now in the top 25. Taking a look at the team here. How's he doing it? Let's take a deeper dive into what's going on here. Aristides Theodorakis. Wow, say that 10 times fast. Out of Greece, leading the way here. Scoring, 77 scoring is really good in the Sun Belt. This is a player that knows the offense, which is great. Anytime you got a guy with 100 in offensive proficiencies, and anytime you see anything over 80, he knows the offense. So that's the main thing here. I mean, some of these smaller schools, you can get a really good offense going if these guys know it. Yep, here's Kansajan Bukar. Wow, Kansajan Bukar out of Slovenia. 8 points a game, 7.8 assists per game. He's great at passing, ball handling. He knows the offense. Look at this. This is definitely going to be a team to watch out for. Travis Hoke. Not the greatest stats there, but he also knows the offense. A lot of seniors. Look at the seniors on this team. They know the offense. They're running the offense well. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if these guys can keep it up. I mean, I don't know if these guys are going to be able to keep it up, but look at this scoring. Look at the scoring they've got. This is huge. Look how many guys can score on this team. They are a deep team. Probably, if I'm going to guess, they probably play a bit of a heavy rotation. Um, you know, let's just take a quick look here at the stats and see how they're doing minutes played. Yeah, you've got 6, 7, 8. You got 8 guys playing over 10 minutes a game. Everybody's seen a bit of action here. Yeah, no, they're getting it done. They're getting it done. Not one guy's doing it. It's a total team effort here with the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Looking at the schedule, they've taken down some top teams. Beat Kansas, who was ranked at the time. Kansas no longer ranked. Beat Colorado, Agalia's team. Colorado's been pretty decent over the years. Beat Toledo. Gave Toledo's only loss was to Coastal Carolina. Lost to Creighton in the 2K Sports Classic final. But I mean, a lot of teams are going to lose to Creighton this year. Beat Virginia at Virginia. I mean, that's a huge win. Going into an ACC team, top 15 ACC Virginia Cavaliers, and taking them down, and then taking down the Murray State Racers. Look at their schedule coming up here. I mean, I don't know how good Northern Iowa is. They're 3-0 at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's improved, but Vanderbilt had a strong recruiting season this year. We're going to get into that maybe in the next video. Touch on some of the teams that cleaned up. These guys had a pretty good recruiting year in 2028. Indiana State's 4-0. I know they've gotten a little bit of love on the Discord. And, yeah, I mean, Tulane 3-0 here. I mean, you never know. You never know that, they're not playing top teams for the next little while. And then obviously in the Sun Belt, the Sun Belt's not going to be the strongest of all the conferences, but I mean the Sun Belt's still got some decent teams in it. So we'll have to keep our eyes on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, see if they can keep this up. Take a look at their history here. NCAA tournament, first round exit last year. Bunch of returning guys from that team, obviously with all the seniors they have. They know the offense. This is a team that can cause some problems for sure, and I would not want to have these guys on my schedule, and I would not want to run into them come NCAA tournament time. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers are a team to look out for. So that's going to do it here, guys. Sorry I didn't get into some of these other teams. Maybe on another video we can look at some of these other teams here. But just kind of giving you a lay of the land here as we move on in our 2028 CBGM season. Want to thank you guys for tuning into this and listening to me talk about some of these teams, giving you a little bit of an insight into what's happening. And I'm going to leave it there. And maybe next video we'll get into some of the recruiting that happened in this past year. And dive into who did well, who didn't do well, and some of the top guys to look out for 2029. Okay, we'll talk to you guys later.